Have you ever thrown out a perfectly good sized container of yogurt just because the date on the lid of that yogurt or item has passed? Well, you're not alone. Most of us have been doing this our entire lives. And here's the thing, we have been misreading those labels the whole time. Today, we are going to break that down. What does the date actually mean? Where do they come from? And why the confusion around them might not be entirely accidental. I'm gonna walk you through all of that in this video. So when you walk through any grocery store, you'll see a range of dates that is stamped on your food. Those dates could be best before, best if used, sell by, used by, packaged on, freeze by, and the rest. Those actually means very different things. But right now, let's start with best before, because this is the one that most people see on their products almost every day. The Canadian Food Inspection Agency defines best before as the date until which an unopened product will keep its freshness and taste, as well as its nutritional value as long as it is stored properly. Now, what I want you to notice in this definition is what it doesn't say. It doesn't say that the food becomes dangerous and after that date on the product. It doesn't say you should throw it away. It's only saying that this is when the quality is still at its peak. Once that date on the food has passed, the food might lose a little bit of flavor or maybe a little bit of texture, might change slightly, but that does not mean it is unsafe. In fact, the Canadian government's own food inspection website states that it is not illegal to sell food that has passed its best before date. You can actually buy it, eat it, and even donate it. Yeah. Now, let's talk about expiration date. This one is a little bit different, and this is where it actually matters a lot. In Canada, a true expiration date only applies to just 5 special product categories, which are formulated liquid diet, food that are used in very low energy diet meals. We also have meal replacement, nutritional supplements, and infant formula, as well as human milk. So when you see an expiration date on a product, especially here in Canada, what that tells you is it's a safety and a nutrition date. The manufacturer is saying that the product may no longer be nutritionally reliable after this point on that product. That is a completely different thing from a best before date, which is just about the quality, and then there's the sell by date, which honestly was never meant for you and I at all. That date was set by the manufacturer for the store owners so that it can tell its staff when to rotate the product off the shelf so that by the time that it reaches the consumer, which is you and I, there is still some useful shelf life left to that product. So the big question is, who tells these companies what date they should put on their products? Well, the answer is nobody tells them. Nobody tells this company what dates they are meant to put on their food. In Canada, the law requires that certain food carry a best before date, but the actual date on the label that you and I get to see in the store, that is decided solely and entirely by the manufacturer. Companies run their own shelf life testing, set their own standards, and sometimes print whatever dates that they determine is reasonable. So there is no federal agency signing off on each one and saying this is the date for this kind of product. So what happens when millions of people start to misread these labels? Well, it actually leads to what is called food waste. A lot of food waste actually in the United States, let's say 30 to 40% of the entire food supply is actually wasted. The USDA has identified the date label confusion as one of the primary reasons why this happens. Think about it, that on a household level, a 2013 study from Harvard Law School and the Natural Resource Defense Council, which is called The Dating Game, was the first the very first ever comprehensive legal analysis of food debates labeling across all 50 states in the United States. That found that label confusion contributes to billions of pounds of food that is being thrown away out every year in the US. An estimated $900 million worth of food is removed from the supply chain annually because of date confusion alone. That's how much food people waste because they believed had gone bad, but in reality had not gone bad. For context, the average American family of four loses anywhere between 500 to 1600 a year on uneaten food. That is food that they end up not eating and probably wasting. That's a significant chunk of a family's grocery budget when you think about it, going straight into the trash based on a misunderstanding. Imagine how much food we can prevent from wasting if we actually understand the difference between expiry dates and best before. Now, we've established that most dates are quality indicators, not safety deadlines. But there are also real exceptions, like I had mentioned earlier in this video. It is worth knowing them because it's very important. And I want to stress on this one because of how I feel important it is. It is infant formula. It is very important. I feel like it's so important. That's why I'm mentioning it again. In both Canada and the United States, formula must carry an expiration date. After that date, formula may no longer contain the nutrients listed on the label. Children are very delicate and so important. So for infants who depend entirely on that formula for nourishment, that's a real health risk. This is one label that you should never ignore. Now let's look into the psychology behind this. So why is it that you and I, people keep throwing food away even though the label is not telling us to throw that food away? Well, a 2020 survey of over 1,000 American adults published in a peer-reviewed journal found that 81% of people regularly use food date labels to make that decision. Only 57% could actually explain what Best By or Use By actually means. And 86% say that they threw food away once the label date had passed. A separate collaborative study from Johns Hopkins, Harvard, and Refed found something even more striking. Well, 87% of consumers said that they understood date labels. But when they were actually tested on the definitions, only 53% got it right. And the NRDC and Harvard report also found that 91% of consumers have thrown food out based on the sell-by date, believing it was a safety indicator. So there is this gap between how confident we as a people feel about reading labels and how well we actually understand and know what these labels mean. And that is a gap that has real consequences, which is food waste, as we can see. It is also worth taking a step back for a second because Canada and the United States, these two countries are not the global standards when we talk about food safety. Because in most of Europe, most European countries follow set rules by the European Food Safety Authority. The EU has even started removing best before dates entirely from certain shelf-stable products like vinegar, salt, even sugar, specifically to cut down on unnecessary food waste. In China, food labels must include a production date, a shelf life, and even an expiration date. India, on the other hand, mandates that all packaged foods carry both a best before and a used by date clearly labeled on that item. In Brazil, it requires a manufacturing date, an expiration date, and a shelf life information on all packaged food. So different countries do things differently. With everything that you have learned today in this video about what expiration and best before is, I want to leave you and I want to ask you this question. Will this video change your relationship that you have with food that have exceeded its best before date? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment. Will this video change your mind, or you will better play safe? Let me know. And thanks for watching this video. Every claim that I have made in this video, I'm going to include in the description sources that you can go to fact check and verify most of the things that I've said in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and have a good rest of your day. Bye now.